and everybody's like,
shut up.
Anyway, okay, we'll move on. So I'm going to get to that coming up in just a second. But first, let me just double check on this. D is here. All right, D, I got you. I'm so sorry.
D is here. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to you. I apologize. It didn't connect you up, so now you're connected, and I feel a whole lot better. All right, let's get to some of the stories quickly that I just mentioned. The House has agreed to a Senate package to reopen the government. Some people are like, yeah, okay. I don't know if it's that exciting. It's really not. So we have this little baby partial shutdown. It's a little baby shutdown. It's kind of what it was 3 days ago. It's like little partial. All right. So the U.S. House passed a $1.2 trillion legislation ending the government shutdown, 217 to 214. It'll now head to the president's desk for signature. DHS is funded until next week. No, I'm not kidding. That is literally what part of this is all about. So you have agencies that are going to be funded through September. You have the resolution of this, but not of the DHS issue. So it's interesting. So the Democrats and Republicans can all say together, hey, we got everything moving along, everything we agreed upon, and we're going to keep the government open, and we don't want shutdowns. But the DHS thing and the funding of ICE and we're going to still keep that in the forefront because, politically speaking, for Democrats, it's very helpful. It seems like some people would
true international average of pressure.
Some people would shout for that. So that kind of thing. 21 Democrat yays on the funding bill. 21 GOP no's. So just passing narrowly. So I'm just wanted to put that out there if you're wondering what's going on with that. I was like, we had a little baby shutdown for a half a second, and everybody was like, I didn't even know. I didn't even feel anything. So don't even worry about it. We just we move on from here. This story is the bigger story. Well, it's one of the biggest stories of the day. So, interestingly enough, we have this very important discussion going on right now. Whether or not people want to talk about it, sorry, we're going here. About election integrity in the 2020 election in Fulton County, Georgia, where there have been many, I'm looking at my watch, many questions about what was going on at the time. Oh, no, it's been through the ringer. I mean, everybody has checked this through and through, and this is ridiculous. Oh, are you sure about that? Because there's a lot of questions. And the FBI searched, as we talked about, the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center. And yes, DNI Tulsi Gabbard was there. Because if you have forgotten, then you may have, in many ways, through executive order, the president wanted to make sure that the proper authorities had the ability to go over a lot of what was being kept behind the curtain with the wizard. Right? Isn't that what it is? The Wizard of Oz was behind the curtain. And then when you pulled the curtain...
He was.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, it's like, hey, that doesn't look like a tough guy. That kind of thing. Anyway, so they have all this behind the curtain. And now we want to expose and see the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. We got a lot of information out of that. Crossfire Hurricane. We got a lot of information there. And we want to find out more about the 2020 election cycle and what went down in Fulton County, Georgia, because where some people would say, well, this feels like it's political retribution, Fannie Willis and everything else. Some people are like, wait, hold on a second. You remember that day, the graph that everybody witnessed of Donald Trump's ahead and Joe Biden's behind and Donald Trump. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we'll count everything tomorrow. And the next thing you know, it's like, hey, look at Joe's up in the air. And all of a sudden it was like, hey, how did Joe get all those numbers? So people want to know what's been happening with this. We've talked about it on numerous occasions this week about even what the president of the United States himself on Truth Social just a few days ago put out there. Hey, can we play this? You bet we can.
Over 1.5 million fraudulent votes counted, and the spread is less than 82,000 votes. These fraudulent votes come from dead voters, ballots that were received before they were supposedly mailed out, and over 330,000 electronic spikes from the voting machine.
It's amazing how many dead people vote Democrat. Isn't that weird, D? It's a strange thing. If you're dead, you're voting Democrat. I don't know how do they do that? It's a mystical, magical thing.
It used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I want to hear you more than I want to hear the video. Go ahead. It used to be.
I was going to agree with you. It used to be crazy and weird how they're voting, but now it just doesn't surprise me anymore.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the other side of the glass has got a little bit of warmth over there and bringing the heat.
From the voting machine.
Yeah.
205,000 overvotes, meaning there were 205,000 more votes than registered voters.
What's the big deal?
And 682,000 ballots that were illegally processed without any oversight whatsoever.
No oversight whatsoever. No, this whole thing has been litigated through and through. The Democrats tell us, the media tells us, everybody tells us, the most important people, the people that are better and more important than you, tell us all the time that this thing's been litigated. Here's one of those people that are better than you. This is Joe Scarborough. He's on MS, whatever they call themselves these days. And David French. Who doesn't love David French? Well, I personally am not a big fan politically of David French. Don't know him personally. Might be a nice person, but I'm just going to get to him in a minute because he was part of this whole thing about what is happening here in this country. You know, this idea that it's not a drill. What Republicans are doing is they're trying to rig the 26 election. See, when you investigate some things and you have evidence that a judge says, yeah, looks like there's enough evidence that you can go in there and go ahead to the headquarters there in Fulton County, and you most certainly can grab what you need to grab because it looks like there's evidence here to show that something wasn't right. That's somehow election rigging because we want to get to the truth. Here's Joe Scarborough, very upset.
And so I'm not talking about all people that voted for Donald Trump. We see the polls. There are some people who actually understand the dangers. But here, David French, again, this is built upon this stupid lie. And it's not even a smart, this is a stupid lie that the 2020 elections were stolen. 63 federal judges threw out 63 of Donald Trump's stupid claims.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much, when we go back and we think about that time and you wonder how much evidence was presented to the judges and how many of the judges had, political motivations. I'm not saying that judges take it upon themselves necessarily to have political motivations to just let things ride because they don't want to be the person to upend an election because that would be a horrible thing. People get very upset if a judge were to do that, or the kind of juice that a judge feels like they have. Forgive me if I have these crazy, outrageous thoughts lately. It is 2026, and judges have decided that they run the country. So forgive me on that part. But it goes on. I don't have to play the whole thing, but it goes on. Joe Scarborough is breathless. You know you're over the target when Joe Scarborough and all the media outlets are all breathless and beside themselves. How dare you do this? Oh, and by the way, David French being part of this whole thing. Forgive me if I'm not a big fan of David French's necessarily, because anybody who writes an article that is in the Atlantic, and you already know where we're going, and he writes an article a few years back where he says the nuclear family was a mistake. There's the article in front of you in case you think I'm lying. The family structure we've held up as the cultural ideal for the past half century has been catastrophic for many. It's time to figure out better ways to live together. So, wait a second. Hold on. I just found out something. Wait a minute. Wow. Yes, you're right.
Drew Steele. Fact check.
Thank you, D. In my ear. Wow. Maybe I need to forgive David French. I shouldn't have to, but hey, D, thanks for pointing that out. See, we do this on this program. The nuclear family was a mistake. I'm laughing because I just got fact-checked. Hey, D, tell everybody on the screen, what's the name of the person at the bottom right there? It's David Brooks, not David French.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Well, his first name's David, so I'm already mad at him. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't be mad at David French necessarily for that. Maybe I should have, well, thank you for fact-checking me. But there have been things that David French has put out there with regard to his feelings on a lot of things that are conservative and not conservative. This is the same David French, I will say, and I know this. And I probably should have went to this one anyway. He's the one that said he wants to save conservatism, and in order to save conservatism, he wants to vote for Kamala Harris. There you go. D, is that okay? That's the article I was looking for.
That's good.
All right, that's good. Wow, what a day. We're off to a blazing start, everybody. But again, when the host makes an error, he owns up to it. Especially when he's got a staff on the other side of the glass that's like Ixnay on the David French. All right, let's get back to the most important point, and it's this. You got a lot of people who are very upset about Tulsi Gabbard being part of the discussion here with regard to the 2020 election in Fulton County. Senator Warner calls Gabbard to testify after the Georgia election office raid. Gabbard arranges Trump call with FBI agents after Georgia election center. So there's a lot going on with Tulsi Gabbard. But many, many people who are way smarter than me have brought something else up. Here's a Wall Street Journal article that came out today, exclusive. A U.S. official has alleged wrongdoing by U.S. spy chief Tulsi Gabbard in a complaint that is so highly classified, it has sparked months of wrangling over how to share it with Congress, according to people familiar with the matter. So, as Joe Kent has put out, as Hans Menke on X have all talked about, wait a second. DNI Gabbard finds 2020 election fraud, and days later, the Wall Street Journal is like, hey, I got this hit piece we got to write. I can't believe this. We got an anonymous source, heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. You've been messing around. That kind of anonymous thing. It's like, who did? Oh, we can't tell you. It's so highly classified that we'd have to send you to another country in order to tell you. A hit piece with fabricated stories straight from the Russiagate and Ukraine impeachment playbooks, as Hans Menke was talking about, complete with fake whistleblowers, supposedly highly sensitive information, just as she is exposing the corruption and rot behind the Georgia election. So do you see what's happening? So here is the story. DNI Gabbard is there. She is, along with others, investigating and trying to find out the bottom line as to what went down in the 2020 election and in Fulton County and some of the fraud that allegedly was there. And because it seems like she's over the target, all of a sudden, just like clockwork, ding. There it is, ding. That's a ding that suggests that something's going on. All of a sudden, it's like, did you hear about the whistleblower that's saying all of these things about? Oh, is that right? Is that how this works? I see. All right. So she's over the. So what you're saying is she's over the target. Oh, and she responded, by the way. Contrary to the blatantly false and slanderous accusations being made against me by members of Congress and their friends in the propaganda media, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has and will continue to take action under my statutory authorities to secure our nation and ensure the integrity of our elections. That is the response partially to Congress. It's a little longer than that, but let's just put it this way. She's not sitting around and taking it. Good for Tulsi Gabbard. Something's up. When you're over the target, that's what ends up happening. All right. 866-588-8303 is the phone number. What else we got going on here? Can we just double and triple check on some of the things we're getting ready to talk about? Because after throwing up the David Brooks mistake there, we want to make sure that we're a little more careful on the prepping frontier. E-bikes are all over Tampa Bay. Is a crackdown on bad behavior coming? Have you ever seen this in a lot of these major metropolitan cities where they have these e-bikes? And people are just like, yeah, I could just leave it here. And they just leave them laying anywhere. They're all over the place. Yeah, they're helping people to commute. But lots of injuries, people leaving them all over the place. Have you ever seen that? Have you noticed that in some of the big cities around? You got
they're not always where they're supposed to be.
No, they're not. So here's a story out of the Tampa Bay Times. 3 months have passed since anyone was killed atop an electric bike in Pinellas. It was a pretty fortunate streak, according to local law enforcement, who has noticed sidewalks, roads, and shared paths were filling with more e-bikes and with them more crashes. And they were talking about someone in Seminole riding an e-bike, and a 73-year-old veteran was on an e-bike in St. Pete and fatally struck. I mean, these are horrible stories. Bad things going on with these e-bikes. From reckless riders to dangerous roads to poor protections. And so what do you do about this? I guess they're saying that officials are hopeful that here in the state of Florida, we might do something to regulate these e-bikes. And they want to pass a bill that would codify safety rules already adopted by most other states. It says the lack of state and local laws governing e-bikes means law enforcement can do little to curb bad behavior. E-bike proponents say those in favor of more regulation are missing a crucial point. E-bikes, cheaper and greener compared to cars. I don't know. What do you think is the percentage of people in the state of Florida who look at an e-bike and go, am I lowering my carbon footprint? I think I'm going to use this today. How many people? A percentage? I don't know.
0.2%.
I'm with you on that one. I'm thinking that sounds high to me. By the way, if you got a friend who looks at an e-bike and says, I'm going to take that tomorrow because I want to lower my carbon footprint, you might need a hobby or something else. I'm not saying you need a new friend. They might be a very nice person, but really? The scale of the e-bike problem is also unknowable since crash data is murky and many agencies have only just started tallying fatalities. Let's just put it this way. It's crazy how with the e-bikes, they get left in just the strangest of places. Just, all right, I'm good. I made it to my destination and plop, like your 13-year-old or your 12-year-old's riding the bike and it's like you walk out the front door and it's like, because he left the bike right there and you didn't see it. It's just like that kind of thing. They just leave it in these very strange, conspicuous areas. But then the other part is, what do you do about the e-bike population? Can you really regulate those that you would imagine are not really riding these things responsibly to begin with? E-bikes with motors as powerful as 750 watts still considered a type of bicycle. But they're going like 28 miles an hour, and you know what I'm talking about, D, right? You ever see these a lot of the kids like that even ride their own?
They're quick.
They're fast, and they've been. And I'll say this before we move on because we got to take a break. But yeah, the state of Florida is the perfect location for e-bikes. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, it's going to be really hard to do anything, I would say legislatively, although they're saying some other states have done it. I don't know if it has helped at all with regard to some of these pedestrian accidents and fatalities. But that's a tough one. At the core, for me, I just like to see, can we... I don't know, maybe we just need racks in the street. Just a nice rack to put them in. Well, then again, like a 12-year-old. Right, D? Well, you don't know about this yet, but you'll see soon enough that you can tell them, hey, I got this perfect spot in the garage for the bike. It goes right there. Does it go there, D? Does the 12-year-old put the bike in that exact spot that you've built for them?
I was 12 once in my life, and I can tell you the bike does not go where it's supposed to.
Exactly. Just throwing that out. All right, what else we got going on? 866-588-8303. All right. If your air conditioning is working well, that's a beautiful thing. You got to keep it that way. Strata Air Conditioning and Heating know very well that every once in a while you just need a Strata AC tune-up. Simple, just to keep it running efficiently. Sometimes that unit is just not cooling down. It feels a little too humid. Maybe the heat's not kicking the way it should be. I don't know what the situation is, but you know what it is. And across the state of Florida, you reach out to strataac.com, STRADAAC.com. You ought to call Strata Air Conditioning and Heating, license number CACO 43953. All right, top of the news from the Florida's Voice newsroom is next.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
After my injury, I lost my sense of purpose.
I lost the ability to tuck my daughters into bed.
Homes for Our Troops builds specially adapted homes with features that allow our veterans to function independently and focus on their recovery and family. This life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free, thanks to our donors and supporters.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a home where I can be a dad.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a brighter future.
We need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Learn more at hfotusa.org.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram, anytime you want to check out the program after hours, Florida's Voice with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get it. Top of the news from the Florida's Voice newsroom.
Top of the news, Florida's headlines.
Now. Shel Vesarina's got the latest right now in the Florida's Voice newsroom. Let's find out what's up. What's up?
Hey, Drew.
Hey.
Here's what's topping the news right now. Governor Ron DeSantis says the state will support a new Tampa Bay Rays stadium at Hillsborough Community College's Dale Mabry campus. He made the announcement today, saying the site could be part of a mixed-use development that would boost the area's economy and provide the team a permanent home. He said the state would help with land and infrastructure, but not directly pay for the ballpark. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred and Rays CEO Ken Babby praised the plan, calling it a broader community effort. The college's president said the project also offers educational benefits like workforce development and student internships. Negotiations are expected to continue among the college, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa. The Republican National Committee has voted to amend its bylaws, and this clears the way for a potential midterm convention this year. RNC Chairman Joe Gruters could now hold a special gathering outside the normal presidential cycle, possibly headlined by President Donald Trump. And Republican Party of Florida Chairman Evan Powers said the event will give the GOP a chance to showcase victories and celebrate making America great again. He expects it to be a wonderful experience for party unity. We don't have details on the date or location, but sources say battleground states like Nevada or Texas are favorites for maximum impact. We'll keep you posted on this one. Business leaders are trying to lure CEOs and investors to Florida's Gold Coast with a new multi-million-dollar campaign. The Florida Council of 100 launched Ambition Accelerated, a way to brand the Gold Coast. If you didn't know it, the Gold Coast of Florida is Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach. The initiative is funded with $10 million from Stephen Ross and Ken Griffin, who highlighted the region's talent pipeline, lower regulation, and high growth potential. The campaign includes digital tools, creative advertising, and events to encourage business leaders to relocate south. Mike Simas, president of the council, said the Gold Coast offers executives a great place to hire, operate, and scale with confidence. Coming up at 4:35, both state and local schools are warning students in Brevard County that they could be suspended if they join walkouts planned for Friday to protest ICE. I'm senior reporter Michelle Vesarina for Florida's Voice, and I'll have that story in our next hour. Drew, back over to you.
All right, Michelle Vesarina in the Florida's Voice newsroom. We appreciate you there, and anytime you want to check out the stories that they are working on, it's very simple. You just go to flvoicenews.com. That's Florida's Voice, the website. Which, by the way, I'm just trying to figure out, they're talking about, I guess, schools, state of Florida, possible walkouts to protest ICE. I can't figure out where in the world they get the idea to do that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you hear, oh, look at this, everybody. Hey, there's a bunch of kids in the middle of the street taken out of school to protest ICE. There they are. I don't know which major metropolitan city this is in, but I can tell you one thing. Why are those kids not in school? Well, there they are. They're walking the streets because it's a big old protest, and the parents don't like ICE, and the kids don't really understand because they're like, Mom, I love ICE. And it's like, not that kind of ICE. And then you got to explain to them why we hate ICE, and it's a weird thing. it's a strange dynamic what we've got going on right now in the United States. It's not really strange. It's pretty straightforward. It's one of those situations where it's kind of a propaganda-ish. All right, let's move on from this to some other things that are going on. There has been a brand new McLaughlin and Associates survey of likely 2026 Florida voters when it comes to current school vaccine safeguards. And I wanted to talk to Jim McLaughlin, who's joining us right now on Florida's Voice. He's the president of McLaughlin and Associates. And I find this very interesting. So I'm so glad he had a few minutes to join us today. It's Drew Steele. How are you, sir?
Drew, great to be here. I love the program.
Oh, well, I appreciate you. And thanks so much. So tell me a little bit more about what it is that you all found out here with this survey.
Yeah, because, there was obviously some talk about folks wanting to get rid of the vaccine requirements. And I think just to take a step back here, when you think about it, a lot of people, there's a lot of misinformation coming from the mainstream media and the left, where they were saying, oh, the Trump administration and these crazies like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they're anti-vaxxers and whatnot. And as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will be the first one to tell you, he is not an anti-vaxxer, in spite of what the mainstream media will tell you. And what happened was, by the way, what they did was they restructured and they reformed based on the science, what was going on at the national level. And they still have 11 core vaccine requirements that they're doing through the CDC. These are the ones that we know are safe. And what they recommended on some of these wasn't, as soon as the baby comes out of the womb, we start jabbing the kid and whatnot. It was really about, okay, what makes sense? We'll wait 30 days, we'll wait 6 months, and then we start doing things. Again, it was based off the science. So we did some work for some folks who were talking about, they want to keep the vaccine requirements in Florida. So they asked us to do it, did a very fair survey, asked the questions in a very fair way. And what we found out was nearly 8 out of 10 voters, they liked the current vaccine requirements for school-age children. And then when you start talking about it, and you start specifically things like polio, things like the MMR and whatnot that all of us pretty much have, there was a ton of support for that. So that's what we did. We wanted to find out where the voters were on this issue.
Right. So just to get this straight, so was this based on what has been as far as this schedule, or is this based on the new schedule and what RFK Jr. and the MAHA discussion has been about?
It was based on what has been to keep the current vaccine requirements. And then we asked specifically about things like, let me give you some examples, when you talk about diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, the DPT. And what I was surprised about, because we've done other work on this at the national level, how much people actually know about the vaccines. And especially among moms, they really know. And once you start mentioning the specifics, it goes over 80% in terms of support. You talk about something like polio, you've got 85% of the voters say, yes, we support the current vaccine requirements when it comes to polio, especially in a place like Florida. Why? Because you have a lot of older voters. They remember when they were younger, folks used to get polio because we didn't have the vaccine back in those days. So they understand the importance of it. And look, there's no question there was a lot of controversy when it comes to things like COVID and whatnot. My personal doctor doesn't want people that are healthy to get the COVID vaccine. So that's what we were.
The fact that their schedule is different. So I'm just it fascinates me that there are people that want to keep. And again, this is the school schedule we're talking about, right? So we're not. This is every parent. You can make your own decision as to how you want to do this. But then again, when we talk about school, there's another reason why people talk about, Jim, like school choice. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't personally, let's say, for example, not speaking of me, but I'm saying somebody could say, I personally don't like the idea of the schedule that they have in schools. So I'm going to homeschool. I'll do it here. That might be part of the impetus as to why they would homeschool, because they don't want to do this. Not that they're not going to keep a schedule of vaccines, right? It's just they're going to do it differently.
And look, the requirements now, as they are in Florida, is my understanding is they still have the religious exemptions in there, and they still have, if your doctor says for whatever reason your child should not get this vaccine, that is still there. That is written in the law in Florida, so you still have those choice. One of the other things when I was doing some focus groups on this issue that came up was, people like, and the left won't tell you this, the mainstream media, we've had some of these like measles outbreaks across the country.
Sure, I got it right now here in Florida.
Yep. And then what's the media saying? Oh, it's all RFK Jr. and Donald Trump's fault and whatnot. The truth of the matter is, what's happened is they were letting folks come into the country willy-nilly during the Biden administration, and a lot of these people were not vaccinated. That's part of the problem there. So, it's almost comical when you look at some of these arguments on the left where they were letting, they were the ones that wanted everybody to get the COVID jab and all that other kind of stuff. They had it their way. You'd be getting 2 or 3 COVID jabs a year. Still, even though, healthy people don't have to worry about COVID anymore, especially young children have to worry about it. So I think, look, what this survey said was, we like having the vaccine requirements. We get it. They work, and people would say things to us in the focus groups about, this has been in place for decades and it works. And these are the good vaccines that have a tried and true history of keeping people healthy.
Jim, before we go, I might ask this. Did they say anything about whether or not someone was skeptical? Let's just say they're running for office. The issue comes up of vaccines. The person says, you know what, I'm skeptical as to this schedule. I would like for a parent to, whatever the case may be that they say, maybe there's somebody who isn't in agreement with exactly what you've looked at in this survey. Have they said anything specifically as to whether or not they would vote for that person or how that would work?
What was interesting was we asked a couple different questions, who they trusted on this issue. Shock and surprise, who did they trust? They trusted the doctors, they trusted the nurses, they trusted the medical professionals. You know what percentage of the electorate told us they trusted their state legislator? It was like 0.9%. Literally less than 1% were telling us that they trusted their state legislator. Right. And the other interesting thing was when we asked whether they'd be more likely or less likely to vote for their state legislator, if they knew that they opposed the current vaccine requirements for school-age children in Florida, 2/3 of the voters said they'd be less likely to vote for that. State legislator. So it's almost like what I worry about on this is, especially among the swing voters, it was over 70% less likely among ticket splitters, among the independents in Florida. I worry about us making what is probably should be a non-issue to voters, making it an issue, because we got to worry enough about the Democrats lying. I mean, you just look at what's going on in Virginia right now. The media, they all told us that Abigail Spanberger was this moderate, and now basically everything in Virginia she wants to tax,
right?
Including, by the way, she wants to give them a highest income tax rate than what even California has. And they would try to use this issue to say Republicans are extremists, when the truth is we know it's the Democrats who are the real extremists out there.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Jim. Well, this was fantastic. I appreciate a few minutes of your time today. All the best. God bless. Look forward to the next time we can speak, okay?
Thank you, Drew, and God bless you, and I look forward to talking again soon.
All right, absolutely. Appreciate a few minutes of his time. That's Jim McLaughlin and Associates, and what an interesting study and what an interesting find there. So one of those things you keep an eye on. By the way, how do you do a 0.9%? The person in, what was it, 0.9 or 0.09? Did he say 0.9 or 0.09 when it came to people?
0.9?
Is that like...
It's like somebody without a hand?
I was just gonna say, it's not like one person that comes along and is just like, they completely misunderstand the question and they're like, yeah, whatever. I was like, okay, I guess we could put that down. Like, how does that even work? How do you have a point? Yeah, it's just, it's like when somebody says, the picket fence and the 2.5 kids. What do you mean 2.5 kids? What's the half a kid? How do you do that? All right, let's take a break. 866-588-8303 is the phone number. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little are you, sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Come, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bob.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on J&C Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? If you're looking for countertops, backsplash, you know where to go. Rock Solid, J&C Boulevard, Naples.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
My name is Skip. I'm 49 years old, and I'm starting something today that scares me a little. On January 10th, I'm locking myself into this room for an entire year. I'm doing this because I'm tired of being the version of myself that avoids hard things. One goal is simple. By the end of the year, I want to do one perfect pull-up. The pull-up is the proof but the real goal is rebuilding who I am from the ground up. This is day minus 70. I'm starting the preparation now.
Damn. But I was just saying, but he's doing this to better. But he's doing this to better himself. And you, D, think this is cool. I mean, what's the problem with this? Why is that a bad thing? Okay. Why does he have to lock himself in a room for 365 days to do a
discipline?
Pull-up? That's so you're all right. I want to explore this just for a half a minute with you. Okay. So putting yourself in isolation, which is tough enough, you have to fight the isolation and you have to try to figure out how you're going to make yourself healthier, lose weight, or do a pull-up. You're going to do both of those things.
Trust me. I like the idea.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, that seems counterintuitive. Because you'll get down to day 174, stuck in a room, and you still have 100 and don't make me do the math. But anyway, you see what I'm saying. At that point, what have you done? Except maybe made yourself depressed because you're all by yourself. Like, you need D. You need you next to me. Like, I can't do this pull-up. And you standing next to me and say, come on, you big fat slob. You can do this. Like, that's what I need.
You think I would say that to you?
Well, I mean, it's only Wednesday. Well, I don't even know what day it is. Is that what day it is?
It is not Wednesday.
What day is it?
It's Tuesday.
Oh, goodness. See, I'm getting ahead of myself.
That's why I open up with a happy day of the week every day.
That's the point. The point is, but you would be doing it in a friendly, loving way because you care about me. You know, you don't want me to drop dead. You want me to get the extra. And the thing is, I'm not isolated. I got you helping me out, but you wouldn't be calling me names. I know.
Yeah, that's cheating.
Yeah, all right. That's all I'm saying. We're moving on. Anytime you want to watch NFL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Again, just a little while ago, outside of the White House, just telling you, the left is going to be, here's the word of the day, apoplectic. When they hear this once again, the White House press secretary speaking to reporters and saying,
Tulsi Gabbard has been tapped by the President of the United States to oversee the sanctity and the security of our American elections. She's working directly alongside the FBI Director, Kash Patel. This is a coordinated whole of government effort to ensure that our elections, again, are fair and transparent moving forward. I don't see anything wrong with the President tasking a cabinet member to pursue an issue that most people want to see solved. Maybe you don't, but I know many Americans do want to make sure our elections are protected, and that's what Tulsi Gabbard is focused on doing.
Yeah, but do we really have to protect the elections? I mean, how are dead people going to vote for Democrats if you're protecting elections? I mean, nobody needs to use an ID, especially a photo ID, for anything in this country. You can do all kinds of stuff without photo ID. Yeah, so about checking on this, go get him, Tulsi.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement
in Jacksonville/Duval County, and I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
What does life after service look like? Kicking back? Taking it easy? We believe it looks a little different. Fighting for all veterans. Making sure they get the benefits and care they've earned. Rebuilding communities after disaster strikes. And adapting to support today's veterans. Meeting them where they are. The VFW. Still leading. Still advancing. Still serving. Get involved at stillserving.org.
I can trace family members who served from World War I to today, each one helping shape who I am. My family chose to share their stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
The other day, a man called saying my electric was way past due. He threatened to turn off my power if I didn't buy a gift card to pay the bill. I said, look, fella, I wasn't born yesterday. Gift cards are for gifts, not for paying bills, and I'm sure as heck not buying you a gift. So I hung up on the crook, and my lights never went out. Know the signs of scams and leave scammers in the dust. If someone asks for a gift card as payment, it's likely a scam. A public service message from the Better Business Bureau.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with Medishare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medishare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because Medishare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. Glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D on the other side of the glass. Nina's in the breaking newsroom, and you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Insta. D, a happy Tuesday. So if Monday is Monday-luya because Friday's Friday-luya, we try to make Mondays happy because, you're finishing out the week and usually Monday is like, it's Monday. And we make it Monday-luya. What would Tuesday be?
Tuesday-luya.
No, you can't keep doing luyas like that. And don't say Taco Tuesday because it's not Taco Tuesday in every house. It could be 2 for Tuesdays, which...
Or,
what?
Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
We can call today Travis Tuesday.
We could. People are like, why would we do that? Well, I guess there's our intro. I'm not going to talk about anything else. Travis Thompson joining us right now on Florida's Voice, Executive Director of All Florida. And there he is. That's quite an introduction. How are you, man?
I've always wanted a day, Drew. So, this is really exciting to have a day.
Wow. Well, congratulations. What do we do now that it's your day? I guess because it's your day, we could do whatever you want to do. We're going to go conserve something, hunting and fishing. What are we going to do?
Yeah, fishing, hunting, whatever. But, it's funny. That's why we're on here talking about agriculture as conservation. And I feel like that's what I'd like to talk about today.
Yep.
Especially with the freeze and everything that's been going on, all eyes are on our farmers, ranchers. It's a tough time of year. And man, I'd love to talk about that because ag is conservation.
Well, let's do it. All right. First of all, before we get started, because I always like to do this as a refresher for anyone who's listening, maybe doesn't know about All Florida, maybe talk about what it is that you do there.
Yeah, All Florida, we advocate exactly for that, for any of the conservation tools, the plow, the cow, the axe, the match, and the gun. So that's farming, ranching, timber, prescribed fire, and then hunting and fishing, consumptive use like the sportsman's issues. If we can keep those things in Florida, Florida's going to be okay. The wild stuff's going to be protected.
Right. And as far as ag is concerned right now, like you mentioned, with this freeze and the farmers who have enough on their plate and to worry about with weather like this, and then some other things have been popping up. Have you had any thoughts about what's been discussed and been going on with regard to the farm bill this year?
Absolutely. Because I sit in the sportsman's world and we see a lot of information pushed around by various groups around, this is going to be the worst thing ever. And I'm a conservationist. You know that, right. Drew. We've been on the show before and talked about issues we don't even agree on, but I'm like a purebred conservationist here. And you have to take care of the land if you want to take care of the water. And ag is one of the critical ways that we take care of land. If you want to protect land, keeping crops on it, keeping cattle on it, keeping timber on it, huge ways to protect land and make sure that water is clean wherever it goes. And so in the thing that we're talking about now, in the farm bill that we're talking about now, there's pushback because we're changing one word. We're striking through a word, perishable, that used to be in there around food products, agricultural food products, and we're taking that word out. And people have lost their mind because this is going to be the worst thing ever. They're eliminating free speech. And I'm like, wait, yesterday we couldn't say, the word perishable was in there and you were fine with it. Today we scratched the word perishable out and suddenly free speech is at threat. This seems like maybe we're fear mongering around something else.
So, yeah, I guess, the part about the perishable. So maybe dig a little deeper into that. So what exactly are they doing there with the word perishable?
They're simply taking it out. I mean, it's simply like if you go look, it shows the old text and the new text.
Right.
There's a strike through on the word perishable where they're taking it out. And the pushback on this in the public has become, oh, this is them eliminating free speech. But if you go back to, I can go back to 2008, and I'm not good at this stuff, but I went back to 2008 and found where, it's basically the same verbiage, same context and everything else, just with the word perishable in it. So all we're really changing is that one word, taking that out. And, it's just, I think it's intentionally misleading. And I'll say it this way, Drew. I'm not anti-development at all, but I hear development talked about a lot in the construct of conservation. We're developing too fast. We're putting too many developments here, there, or the other. Ag is a thing that's going to stave off development. We're a private property rights state. So we want to protect private property rights. One of the best ways to ensure that those don't turn into subdivisions is to make sure that the farmer is viable, that the rancher is viable, that he's able to stack revenue streams, be it conservation easements, crops, putting bees or whatever other revenue streams you can find, hunting leases, et cetera. We've got to keep that land in production and keep it viable for those private landowners in order to stave off development. And I think these are honestly becoming talking points of almost destruction of conservation to push back on the farm bill the way that they are.
Yeah, I think there are certain people with an agenda and want to hype up and make something out of nothing, clearly, like you're describing in the word, and perishable being there or not being there, as far as what it means for them to be able to speak out or not speak out about. And it gets to this place where everyone's like, well, let's get down to some of the bottom line issues as well, because then they get missed, like what you just described. And how I've said this on this program, and my concern is, when it comes to ag, when it comes to farmlands, when it comes to the national security issue of making sure that we have farms in the state of Florida and that we are able to continue to have farmers do what they've been doing for generations and to preserve that and keep that, how important that is. Oftentimes when you have an issue like this, Travis, that gets missed, and we can't miss the fundamentals on this.
But food security is national security. That's what you're saying. Food security is national security. There's no debate about that. And I think it's easy for them to wrap around that we no longer are connected to where our food comes from. This was important, and we talked about this back during Amendment 2, the right to fish and hunt. But people are no longer connected to where their food comes from. And frankly, a guy's got to go put a seed in the ground and grow a plant. He's got to go raise a cow or some kind of a meat product, chickens, eggs, whatever. We've got to protect where our food comes from. And by protecting where our food comes from, we're ultimately protecting the environment. And I think that's a disconnect that people haven't circled back on. And again, that's not Travis's math. You can go back to the father of conservation, Aldo Leopold, 1920s, 1930s. He talks about those 5 tools I mentioned: the plow, the cow, the axe, the match, and the gun, being the tools of wildlife conservation. It frustrates me because it's such a simplistic idea, and this isn't Travis's opinion. This is like in the textbook that you learn in wildlife ecology. And yet we're having to have these conversations because people are so, they're following whatever talking points to be anti-ag, anti-ranch, anti-whatever. And the fact is, I want to protect wild Florida and make sure Florida maintains the character, maintains what makes her special. And those are the tools that are going to do it.
Yeah. And then one other thing too, because people have asked me, and I don't know enough about it, and I say that to them, but I might present it to you because maybe you know a little bit more about 1421. Do you know a lot about what's going on with that?
Yeah, 1421 is cattle suitable, or public land suitable for grazing cattle. We're going to put cattle on it. So there's this thing out there in the world of wildlife ecology called disturbance ecology. And that's fire. That's those 5 tools I'm talking about. When they create disturbance, animals, the wildlife will exist better. It's able to exist in that world. It flourishes. When we do duck hunts, we like to go plant something or disturb it with cattle, and the ducks will go where the cattle are because of that disturbance that they create. It makes it easier for them to find food. So 1421 is going to be beneficial for whatever public lands get cattle. I think it was our past president of Florida Cattlemen said cows keep Florida green, Pat Durden. He's exactly right. You find land that's suitable for cattle. That doesn't mean they're going to cart cattle out to Cayo Costa and put them on the island. because that's going to be low nutrient, low value food. It costs a lot of money to get them out there. They're not going to go put them on every square inch of every public land. But if they got public land where there's underbrush or a Kogan grass or a West Indian marsh grass, some kind of invasive that cattle will graze, why aren't we using this thing that's going to produce food that's also a tool that's great for wildlife? And I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer, and the pushback on it is completely around fear-mongering ag. And I've had it up to here with it because I'm just so sick and tired. As a guy that works in the conservation space and spends time around farmers and ranchers and watches how hard they work on the land and how much they care about the land, I'm sick and tired of the misinformation around this. It's it drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, I get it. Travis, if people want to find out more about All Florida, where can they go?
allfla.org.
allfla.org. All right, good stuff. All right, Travis, we'll have you back soon. It feels like it's been too long, but I know. There's
anytime that there's a Travis Tuesday and you want to have me on.
Anytime there's a Travis. This might be, I guarantee you this will be the last one until the next time you come on. How about that? Is that fair?
I love it. Perfect.
Wow, I think I did that right. All right, Travis, we got to jump. We'll see you later.
Take care, guys.
All right, there he goes. Travis Thompson joining us on Florida's Voice. Appreciate a few minutes there. I think I did. Yeah, that's right. Because then when it comes, all right. 866-588-8303 is the phone number. A lot of very crazy, odd, weird, interesting stories out there. First, the House agreed to a Senate package to reopen the government, 217 to 214, heading to the president's desk. DHS funding will be happening till next week. And then the Democrats will be able to demagogue on it all the way through till September when this comes up again, just in time for the elections. And they'll be able to tell everybody that they're going to stop the funding of ICE. And okay, we got it. But other things that need to be done, like passing the SAVE Act, can we get that done? Can we do a few things around that? That is something that people have been talking about today. And what about that? What about the issue of voter ID and how it polls? I mean, if you are looking and you're saying, well, this is probably a very important issue that we should look at, and then we should check the polls, and then we should lick our fingers and check the wind, check the breeze. Maybe not in the state of Florida right now, because if it's breezy right now, it's just way too cold. Sorry, I'm just bringing that up. It's way too cold right now. But no, we don't do that. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing. We would assume that we're all on the same page with that. A nationwide voter ID. How about we do this? A photo ID. We have to do as much as we possibly can in the next election cycle and into the future to secure it. Now, I know there are some people that look at the voter ID issue and say, well, look, if you've got poll workers that are still on the side of, what we used to do, then maybe they might not ask somebody for the ID, or maybe they'll ask for it and they'll just look at it real quick and hand it back. They're not going to do any kind of check, to which, you have to have monitors and you have to have people watching and making sure that everything is above board and being done properly. But to not have this thing move because someone says, well, maybe it polls really poorly. I heard this today. There was someone on X who works for Vox. Now, Vox is like one of these left-leaning websites, so you already know where we're going. And this guy named Eric Levitz said that Trump's immigration agenda has become politically toxic. And yet, as of mid-January, voters still felt the GOP was, quote, better equipped to handle immigration than the Democrat Party by an 11-point margin, and that according to a Wall Street Journal survey. Now, D, I'm not the smartest man in the room, and I'm by myself right now on this side of the glass. So that says a lot. But if someone says your topic, your issue politically is toxic, nobody wants to touch it, don't even bring it up. But the GOP feels like, yeah, we're handling this better than the Democrat Party by an 11-point margin. Is that toxic? So how can it be toxic if everybody's on your side on the issue by an 11-point margin? That doesn't sound like something that would be, maybe I'm wrong.
Doesn't really add up.
No, it doesn't add up. And then let's get down to D's favorite guy.
Holy Toledo.
That's Holy Toledo guy, Harry Enton, who I know sometimes we get too much of Holy Toledo guy, and sometimes there's this like break in the Toledo talk, and then all of a sudden there's I was going to say dearth. Is that the right word, D? There's a dearth of Holy Toledo. I forget. Is
a dearth?
Yeah. Is dearth
like a lack of him?
Yeah, okay. So, right. Sometimes there's a dearth of him, and then sometimes there's a floodgate. That's what I wanted to say. Here comes Holy Toledo guy, checking out what people think across the country about photo ID to vote. Do you think you know where this is going on CNN? Let's find out.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote.
Yeah.
85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this.
Yeah.
Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
Wow. Is that right? But the Leavitt dude there from Vox just told me a few minutes ago that it's toxic. This is a toxic issue. Like, we can't even talk about this. And we can't, among other things, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to voter ID, when it comes to a lot of different things that are going on that people feel like it's toxic. It's funny how the left talks about things being toxic. And then you do the numbers and it's like, it's not as toxic as you're suggesting. So the Leavitt guy was saying the immigration issue is definitely toxic. But by an 11-point margin, everybody feels like the GOP is better equipped to handle it than the Democrats. On the polling side and what the country thinks, for example, about nationwide voter ID and whether or not we need to do something to secure elections, like the Save America Act, you have just about an average of 83% of people who are like, yeah, we're for this. And it doesn't matter, like Harry Enton said, what party. It doesn't matter where you are in this country. You're like, yeah, this sounds like a really good thing if we want to secure that. I'm bringing up both of these issues. I mean, they're two different, but they're the same to me in that you just have to be careful when you hear how people talk about these things. You're being gaslit. Well, people are trying to gaslight you. Oh, no, but this is a toxic issue when it comes to immigration. Yeah, you sure about that? Because everybody's like, the GOP is onto the right path here when it comes to immigration in this country. And we're going to get to ICE and the latest talk on that in just a second. So it's not as toxic as you would think. And then you have 85% of white voters, 82% of Latino voters, 76% of Black Americans want nationwide voter ID, as Harry Enton was talking about. It didn't make a difference, political party, everybody's like, well, wait a second. There are a lot of people out there saying quite the opposite. That this is how you stop people from voting. This is how you make sure that certain individuals won't be able. Not everybody, D, not everybody has photo ID. Did you know that? Not everybody in this country has who? Have you ever met anyone without an ID, a photo ID, any kind of ID?
Illegal?
Oh, look at you. Come on, everybody. Exactly. Well, not necessarily, because if you live in certain states, you even get a driver's license if you're here illegally. Which goes back to the voter ID issue, which is a funny thing because we just have to be aware of, be careful what you wish for. Yeah, we would like to have voter ID. We'd like to have a photo ID as well as voter ID, and you'd have to identify yourself. But we also need to know that when you do have that identification, that there's something on that identification or something, someone or some way to signal that you have this driver's license, for example, and you're not here in the country legally. Wait, you're not here in the country legally. I just got to say that the right way because it sounded like I said illegally. So I hope all of that makes sense. But we keep an eye on all of this. What else we got going on? At 866-588-8303 is the phone number. I don't know where to go with this, except this is tragic. D, you talked about this before we went on the air. Like, you were like, what? Did this really happen? Jill Biden's ex-husband is now charged with murder in the death of his current wife. So I guess this is the, Linda Stevenson is the wife of William Stevenson. That's Jill Biden's ex-husband. And he's been arrested and charged with murder in her death. They didn't provide details, but initial release on her death noted that officers responded to a domestic dispute at a residence in the Wilmington area back in December. And they haven't clarified. I haven't heard anything. Dee, have you heard anything yet on clarification about the cause of death yet? I have not.
No, I've seen that same article you're reading.
Yep, nothing yet. Bill Stevenson was married to Jill Biden in 1970 when she was 18. They divorced in 1975, and then she went on to marry Joe in 1977. And I guess he's got some kind of bar and music venue where Bruce Springsteen, among others, have played. Now, this is the same. Isn't this the same guy, Dee, recently? Isn't this the same guy who was raising questions about the fact that Jill and Joe were in a relationship while they were involved in a relationship and she was still married to him? That whole
unknown.
No,
to me.
Okay. Yes. He was on a couple of different, and I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was 2024. It was before the election. I want to say it was during the summer. I want to say it was even when Joe did not decide. I'm sorry, when the Democrat Party decided for Joe that he wasn't going to be running anymore. It's funny how Democrats do that. They're like, I'm not sure that you're the person that we want necessarily. No, but you don't understand. I got the support of the party.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
Oh, like Bernie. And everybody was like, no. We got somebody else in mind. Sorry, we can't. You know? I know. And then here comes Hills. And next thing you know, she's the nominee. And everybody's like, what happened? Tulsi Gabbard, who at one time was a Democrat, if you remember. And there was a lot of talk about Tulsi rising up in the polls. And then all of a sudden it was like, she's in league with Putin. And then next thing you know, there were like Russia connections and everything else, because the Russia thing seems to work really well with Democrats. Well, at least they try. And then next thing you know, there's like, oh, there goes Tulsi. Yeah. So Stevenson had raised questions about the relationship that Jill and Joe were having. He was still married, and also accused Joe Biden of weaponizing the government against him in the past. So nothing from the Biden family about this, but wow. So we'll keep an eye on that. And if there's any new developments, Dee will whisper in my ear. Well, don't whisper, just talk. You don't have to whisper at all. Actually, Dee's really good at that. He never whispers in my ear. He's always like, hey, there's some breaking news. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, enough of that. Strata Air Conditioning and Heating are here when you need them most. I'm not sure what's going on, but I can tell you this. If you need a brand new unit, maybe yours is 10 years old or older, well, Strata Air Conditioning and Heating, they service and sell every major manufacturer out there, and they're ready to help you. Across the state of Florida, find out more, STRADAAC.com. You ought to call Strata. License number CACO 43953. Top of the news coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
A lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
After my injury, I lost my sense of purpose.
I lost the ability to tuck my daughters into bed.
Homes for Our Troops build specially adapted homes with features that allow our veterans to function independently and focus on their recovery and family. This life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free, thanks to our donors and supporters.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a home where I can be a dad.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a brighter future.
We need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Learn more at hfotusa.org.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead and in a changing world. You've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to check out the program after hours, Florida's Voice with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Where did it go? I don't even know. All right, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just talking to the newsroom right now because I just downloaded something and it's missing. All right, top of the news from the Florida's Voice newsroom.
Top of the news, Florida's headlines.
Now. See what's going on. Michelle Vesserina's got the latest. Let's see what's up. What's up?
Hey, Drew.
Hey.
Florida is bringing history to life through a first-of-its-kind 3D interactive George Washington exhibit at the state capitol. That story in a moment, but first, state officials are joining Brevard Public Schools officials in issuing a clear warning to students planning walkouts to protest federal immigration actions. Both Board of Education Commissioner Anastasios Kamoutsas and Brevard School Board Chair Matt Susan are warning that any walkouts, protests, or demonstrations during the school day are disruptive, not permitted, and will result in suspensions or other consequences under the Student Code of Conduct. Student organizers have planned demonstrations for this Friday at Satellite, Rockledge, and Vera high schools as part of a national shutdown movement against ICE. Officials say they respect students' rights to express themselves, but instructional time is a priority. Business leaders are trying to lure CEOs and investors to Florida's Gold Coast with a new multi-million-dollar campaign. The Florida Council of 100 launched Ambition Accelerated, a way to brand the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast of Florida is Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach. The initiative is funded with $10 million from Stephen Ross and Ken Griffin, who highlighted the region's talent pipeline, lower regulation, and high growth potential. The campaign includes digital tools, creative advertising, and events to encourage business leaders to relocate south. Mike Seamus, president of the council, said the Gold Coast offers executives a great place to hire, operate, and scale with confidence. Florida leaders unveiled a first-of-its-kind interactive George Washington exhibit this morning at the state capitol, kicking off the America 250 celebrations marking the country's 250th anniversary. Senate President Ben Albritton and House Speaker Danny Perez were on hand to introduce the George Washington experience. It's built around a 3D sculpted version of the famous Lansdowne portrait. The exhibit includes raised surfaces and touch-activated audio, allowing visually impaired visitors to engage through touch and sound. Albritton called it an innovative way for all Floridians to connect with the father of our country, while Perez highlighted the importance of preserving history for future generations. That's all for now. Stay on top of what lawmakers in Tallahassee and Washington are doing by following us on social media. We are on X, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm senior reporter Michelle Vesserina for Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, Michelle, we appreciate you in the Florida's Voice newsroom. And anytime you want to check out the stories they're working on, flvoicenews.com, that is the website. All right. Also, at FL Voice News, YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to watch the program. So much that is going on. I heard through the grapevine that the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, along with the other former president of the United States, Hillary Clinton. Sorry, never happened. Anyway, after a whole lot of back and forth, and we're not going to show up. We are showing up. We're not going to be going into a House Oversight Committee to talk to James Comer or anybody else and testify before Congress about what they know about Jeffrey Epstein. Well, apparently, now we're told that it could happen. So we heard yesterday from James Comer, once it became clear that the House of Representatives would hold them in contempt, the Clintons completely caved, and they're going to appear for transcribed, filmed depositions this month. The former president will appear for a deposition on February the 27th, and the former Secretary Clinton will appear for a deposition on the 26th of February. And James Comer, who's the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, says after delaying and defying duly issued subpoenas for 6 months, The House Oversight Committee moves swiftly to initiate contempt of Congress proceedings in response to their noncompliance. We look forward to now questioning the Clintons as part of our investigation into the horrific crimes of Epstein and Maxwell to deliver transparency and accountability for the American people and survivors. So a lot of people have been saying, you sure they're going to show up? And even if they do show up, when they do, and it's been a pretty long road and a long time for them to be delaying this, you just wonder, some people have suggested that if you are someone who's, I hate to say godless, but let's just say, for an example, let's just pull this out of thin air. I'm just making stuff up at D as I go. I'm just making it up. Just making stuff up as I go along. It's like, if you're somebody who's godless, who's willing to do just really bad, terrible, awful things, and you had to swear on a book that you haven't really cracked open very much, or even looked into at all, and that kind of thing. I'm just wondering, like, when somebody is going to tell you, all the truth about everything that they know, are we really sure they're going to give us everything that they know? I don't know. You've got... I know there are people, the newsroom's laughing like, really? Did you just go there? I don't know. I kind of sort of half went there. The Clintons resisting the subpoenas, but House Republicans forcing it here, advancing criminal contempt of Congress. They wouldn't want that. But, what we're going to get out of it, will it be publicly televised? Is it going to be behind closed doors? Is it going to be one of those things where the Democrats are going to make it? See, follow what I'm saying here. Let's just say it's behind closed doors. It's not public. There is a deposition and they're on camera. Then the Democrats are probably going to not want that out. Or they're going to cherry pick or pick and choose moments where they would like for people to look to say, see, nothing to see here. There could be a whole lot of Trump's in there, that kind of talk. And so where is this ultimately going to go? How is it going to end up? I hate talking about the Epstein stuff, but it's interesting how some Democrats are couching this. You've got crazy leftist Democrat Representative Ted Lieu. I put the crazy leftist in there, but he's a Democrat and he's a representative. And he went into this tirade against Trump. I don't want to play all of it because it's kind of, it's a family show. And it's a little sordid, things that he's bringing up here at Capitol Hill. But let's listen to a little of what he said.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations.
Yeah, there are. And I'm just going to leave it at that there's highly disturbing allegations. And because what he says is, it's pretty horrible. And again, you have the crazy leftist Democrat representative talking about, Bill and Hillary, really? So what? You got logs and Bill and you got the photos and like not photoshopped AI ones, because there's a lot of those that have been popping up lately on social media. But lots of questions about Bill Clinton. And for some reason, Democrats don't want to. I said, it's Bill Clinton, Democrat. He's better than you. Just by being a Democrat, he's better than you. So why are we even talking about this? But he goes on to say.
He said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was...
I can't do it. I don't want to hear it. He goes on for another minute and basically bashing Trump and talking about Trump and Trump's in the Epstein files and highly disturbing allegations of Trump and what he did. Now, here's where people have questions. So Ed Krasenstein is one of these guys on social media, and he's a big crazy lefty. A lot of people follow him, but he's a crazy lefty. And here's an instance where there was a mention of Donald Trump in the Epstein files. It was handwritten, a handwritten letter that wasn't indexed properly by the DOJ. How convenient, he says. A woman alleges Trump involved with Epstein and really horrible things that I'm not going to repeat because it's a family show. But There's a 32-page letter on the DOJ website. And then he puts it out there on social media, and he also puts the PDF so that people can download it and check it out for themselves. Okay. To which Greg Price on X, who is he's a great follow and spot on here, where he said, now this is his words, not mine. He says, I understand that you're the most, well, I don't want to use this word, but let's just put it this way. A lot of people call Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, that word. Starts with an R.
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
And you can figure out the rest. We know you're the most man in America. But it doesn't seem likely to me that Donald Trump was involved in the things you're describing with Jeffrey Epstein in 1967 when he was 21 and Epstein was 14. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, so I guess the person was trying to explain in this handwritten letter of everything that was clear to them from way back when, that the testimony apparently was from the summer of 1967. My last year of high school, this person was saying. And just completely recollected this memory. So, yeah, you might want to read the rest of the story before you start throwing things out there. It's like, really? Is that really? How did they? And you're thinking that he's 21, Epstein's 14, and somehow they were in the same orbit? And then, no, I'm thinking not. It's a weird, as the kids like to say, it's a weird flex. Desperate to attach the president of the United States and a lot of what has been out there with the AI photos manufactured on social media. You've probably seen some of those with Epstein. You have these letters and different emails that are out there that have been, that many of them have been debunked over and over and over again. It doesn't matter because Democrats, they want the president gone. And they want to blame the president or even put it out there. It's basically that hit and run journalism that some people do sometimes, where it's like you throw the most awful story out there and people hear it, but they never hear the rebuttal or anything else. It's something that Nancy Pelosi made very, very famous,
Bowl of doggy do.
Yeah, she did that all the time. I can't believe these racists. There's this Republican in Congress who's the biggest racist, and you should hear the things that they say. Really? Well, we hate racism. Can you explain to us again who that person? Oh, I couldn't tell you that. It's one of those things where hey, let's talk about something else. You like ice cream? Yeah, that's, is that Nina's favorite? Nina, is that your favorite when I do my Nancy Pelosi? The two things that Nina over there in the breaking news room loves the most. It's when I do my Nancy Pelosi and when I play Boot Edge Edge.
Boot Edge Edge.
Yeah.
Boot Edge Edge.
Although there's not a lot of talk lately about Mayor Pete. Dina, have we seen any stories at all about Mayor Pete lately?
It's been a while, right?
Yeah, Boot Edge Edge. So that's, yep, there she goes, Boot Edge Edge. Yeah, I just got to file that away. Hopefully one day there'll be some, well, he's probably going to run for president, so we'll tuck that away in 2028. All right, what else do we have going on? Yeah, looking at the time, I don't have enough time to be fair with some of these stories, including one out of the state of Florida. A look at Florida's plan to let companies pay below minimum wage. It's Scott Maxwell from the Orlando Sentinel. And I wanted to read a little bit into it because you have to kind of read into it more to find out the rest of the story. Really? So, according to Scott Maxwell from the Orlando Sentinel, there's nothing more that Republicans like to do than pass legislation and do everything they can to try to stop it from happening. And this has to do with minimum wage. But there's more to the story here because there are some things that he's kind of leaving out of the discussion, in my opinion. And that's what it is. It says Florida's Voice with Drew Steele, so it really is all about my opinion. So I'll have some of that coming up on this story, among other things. And then there was the pushback from many people on social media and the Tongva tribe talking about Billie Eilish. Remember yesterday, D, we had that story about Billie Eilish who stepped up to a microphone and was like, I don't know what else to say, but keep protesting. And you're on stolen land, or the whole stolen land thing. Well, there's an update on that story that we will have coming up for you in just a minute. Is she moving? No, she's not moving out of her $14 million mansion there on tribal land.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little fly, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step,
Bella, let's go.
guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on J&C Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? You're looking for countertops, backsplash? You know where to go. Rock Solid, J&C Boulevard, Naples.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
As we were running across the street, we called the ambulance. We weren't really expecting that, especially the baby coming out when we opened the car door. So we couldn't really say much, but I just told her to breathe and push, and she did. And Out came the head, and I held the head until the rest of it came out. Then the whole baby came out, and I was just holding it. We got some blankets, put a blanket on the mom, and then the baby on the blanket, and then covered it with another blanket just to keep it warm. We didn't have much of a choice. We just had to do what we had to do, and we're just glad everything worked out. So this is what we signed up to do. We signed up to help people in a time of need, and she was definitely in a time of need there.
All right, so that sounds really nice. It sounds like you had a couple of people who were looking to help someone deliver a baby in New Jersey last month. The woman goes into labor in the backseat of her car. Her husband runs into the police station looking for help. But, D, I wonder how many times you've had this situation. Neither one of the people in the vehicle could speak any English. So the cops used Google Translate to coach her through it. They used the app. Have you ever done that before? I'm not saying like coach somebody through labor. I mean, that would have been amazing.
Can't say I have.
Okay. I'm not talking about that part of it. I'm talking about using Google Translate to communicate with people. Like,
never used it yet.
You haven't?
Never been in a situation where I needed it.
I just used it the other day for the same type of thing where I was trying to explain.
Deliver a baby.
I was trying to deliver a baby, and I'm like, how do I translate into Spanish? I have no idea what to do. I gotta go. No, but I find that I'm trying to think of how to put this the right way. So way back when I was a little Drew Steele, I think I told this story before that I went to Paris because I wanted to go to England, I wanted to go to London, I wanted to go to Paris, and I went by myself. I just went by myself, and I went to Paris. Don't speak French, but I had one of these books that translates English to French, and so I made the effort to try and speak French. And there was one moment in time where I went through this whole big long sentence and I tried to do the whole thing. And the girl, it was in a clothing store, and she laughed at me because she spoke English. But she said, Dee, that she appreciated, I liked that you tried. That's what it's all about. It's just give it a shot. Just don't, especially now when you've got it right there in the palm of your hand at any time. And in some cases, I think Google Translate even will speak for you. Like it even says the words. So you don't even have to try to do it. You could just go blip and off you go. So that's the beauty of technology. That's the good stuff that sometimes you'll see on your phone, as opposed to the doom scrolling on TikTok, which we got to stop some of that from going on. All right, what else we got? All right, coming up, we will get to the story about what's going on here in the state of Florida, and I'm just interested in this about Republican lawmakers are advancing a proposal to try to stop employers from being able to pay minimum wage. Is that really what's going on, or is this some guy being delusional? I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about that coming up. And we have Speaker Mike Johnson, who just a little while ago was being asked, this just happened? He was responding to the Pope, citing Matthew to oppose Trump's deportations. I haven't heard this clip yet, but I want to find out more. It was a discussion about the funding of government. It's 96% funded. The DHS issue is not resolved. Well, it's good for another week, and then Democrats will scream about how we're not going to pay for ICE and all that, but I don't know how this clip went, so we'll find out together. That's kind of what we do here. My name is Drew Steele. It's Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
What does life after service look like? Kicking back? Taking it easy? We believe it looks a little different. Fighting for all veterans. Making sure they get the benefits and care they've earned. Rebuilding communities after disaster strikes. And adapting to support today's veterans. Meeting them where they are. The VFW. Still leading. Still advancing. Still serving. Get involved at stillserving.org.
I can trace family members who served from World War I to today, each one helping shape who I am. My family chose to share their stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
The other day, a man called saying my electric was way past due. He threatened to turn off my power if I didn't buy a gift card to pay the bill. I said, look, fella, I wasn't born yesterday. Gift cards are for gifts, not for paying bills, and I'm sure as heck not buying you a gift. So I hung up on the crook, and my lights never went out. Know the signs of scams and leave scammers in the dust. If someone asks for a gift card as payment, it's likely a scam. A public service message from the Better Business Bureau.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. Glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. It's Drew Steele, Big D on the other side of the glass, and Nina's in the breaking newsroom. And you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram on this Tuesday, Luya. Well, it's not on this Tuesday, which for some reason at the beginning of the show I thought it was Wednesday, and I was quickly rebuffed. Rebuffed, D? Is that the right way to put it? Rebuked, I guess.
Rebuked.
Yeah, or rebuffed, whatever. Anyway, the point is, there's a lot going on, and we should probably start with some of what has been happening just in the past hour or so. I want to catch up on a little bit of the happenings. Like I mentioned this earlier. First of all, the President of the United States just a little while ago signing off on the $1.2 trillion now. We're funding the government. 96% of the government is funded. Some of it isn't. And we're going to get to some of what the president had to say, because obviously as he's signing off on all of this, he has an opportunity to speak to the press. And it's always fun to hear what he has to say to the press. Not just educational and informative about what the president is doing, but then, every once in a while you have a Caitlin Collins from CNN or somebody who is like, all right, hold on a second. I'll get to you when I get to you. And then when I get to you, then we have something to talk about. But I'm not getting to you yet. Like that kind of thing. It's always fun. So here's Speaker Mike Johnson, who is responding to the Pope, I guess, citing Matthew 23, chapter 35. Matthew chapter 23, verse 35, to oppose Trump's deportations. And let's see exactly what he said about this.
Yeah. Pope Leo has cited Matthew 25:35 to critique Donald Trump's mass deportation agenda. How would you respond to Pope Leo in Scripture?
So you want me to give you a theological dissertation? All right, I'll tell you what, I'll post it on my website later today, but let me give you a quick summary. Borders and walls are biblical. From the Old Testament to the New, God has allowed us to set up our civil societies and have separate nations. Immigration is not something that's frowned upon in Scripture. In fact, it's welcome. We're to welcome the sojourner and love our neighbor as ourselves. But what's also important in the Bible is that assimilation is expected and anticipated and proper. When someone comes into your country, comes into your nation, they do not have the right to change its laws or to change its society. They're expected to assimilate. We haven't had a lot of that going on. When people cite passages out of the Old Testament, they say, well, you're supposed to take care of the sojourner and the neighbor, treat them as yourself, welcome them in. Yes, but that is an admonition to individuals, not to the civil authorities. The civil authorities are given authority under Scripture to maintain order. Romans 12, you want to do this? Romans 13 says that the civil authorities are God's agents of wrath to bring punishment upon the wrongdoer. And it says if you do right, you have no fear of the civil authorities, but those civil authorities are necessary. It's a calling. It's a calling to maintain order in society, and we have not had that.
Hey, D, you know those times when you're a journalist, you're a reporter, and you're trying to pull that gotcha question on the politician,
and sometimes it just backfires on you.
And you're like, wow, I probably should have thought this one out. I wanted to play that because, you know, of all the people in Congress to ask their thoughts or a biblical dissertation, I'm thinking that Speaker Mike Johnson is the person you might not want to go to if you are ill-prepared for what you're asking. And so, yes, the Pope was citing chapter and verse in Matthew in the Gospels, and Speaker Mike Johnson has his own thoughts and was digging quite deeply into his thoughts. And I just thought that was interesting because the reporters, I wonder what the reporters thinking all that time. And they're like, hey, what about ICE? You know, like that kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of what's going on there on Capitol Hill, the President of the United States signing off on the $1.2 trillion right there. The spending package to reopen the U.S. federal government, although it was like a little baby partial little thing going on. Like everybody was like, it actually happened? We had a shutdown and so? Yeah, we kind of sort of did. So DHS is funded till next week, and we've got to make sure that a lot of other things get signed off on. So let's check out some of the things that the president was talking about and being asked today. The president was bringing up Melania Trump. This is fantastic. Here, check this clip out as
movie star Melania Trump foster youth to independence initiative. So she really loves the children, and she's had a tremendous success. So it's the #1 documentary in 19 years. Can you believe this? What do I get out of it? Nothing out of it.
Nice, very nice. What do I get out of it? So the documentary Melania, I guess, is the biggest since or in 19 years. So that is awesome for the First Lady. The president was talking about the reduction of drug prices here in the country, and he was talking about it just a little while ago.
Most favored nations, we will have the lowest price anywhere in the world. So a pill that was for $130 will be down to $20. So you can make a case that that's 800, 900%, or like the press likes to hear, it's about 80%. But we're going to get reductions like nobody's ever seen. And frankly, the Republican Party should be able to win the midterms on that alone. That's the biggest thing there is. Most favored nations, we're going to be bringing the price of drugs down. In my first term.
Yeah, so he was, and then he went on and talked about what was going on in the first term. But I just wanted to play that only because the president was bringing up the midterms, and that alone. I mean, if we're going to see that, and it comes to fruition, and you're starting to see it, and you're like, whoa, what happened here? And you know exactly what happened here. Then yes, just on that alone, you would think that the GOP should win on that issue. People have been asking about and talking about the Save America Act. Are we going to try and secure our elections? What are we doing here?
We should have voter ID, by the way. We should have a lot of the things that I think everybody wants to see. Who would not want voter ID?
Oh, D, can I answer this, please? Please let me answer it.
Yeah, you in the front.
Yeah, me? Okay, cool. Republicans? You all know the party. Democrats, I got that one right.
Only somebody that wants to cheat. Think of it. We don't have voter ID. And the Democrats don't want it. And the reason they don't want it is because they want to cheat. Because there's no reason in the world. And I love that debate, Lindsay. I love saying, well, why don't you want voter ID? And you watch them say, I don't know. I just make them vote. No, it's a terrible thing. So
it's a terrible thing. And, it's because you want to cheat. We don't want to cheat. We never cheat. We don't have anybody out there who cheats at all when it comes to elections and tries to do anything in a...
I don't feel no ways tired.
Well, there was that Democrat Party, Hillary Clinton, Trump-Russia collusion hoax to try to stop a duly elected American citizen and president from becoming president of the United States and then staying in office, and a bunch of impeachments and stuff. But we don't like to talk about that because Democrats, and they're better than you, and you know how that works. A couple of other things that the president was bringing up and being asked. First of all, I know the president brought this up, and look, this is something that has to be discussed, talked about, and it's okay. You know, the president is concerned about cheating in elections. The president is concerned about the 2020 election, and we're going to continue to bring it up because there were too many really strange, weird anomalies like Raffensperger the day after the pause on the elections. And it's like, we got a couple of places that we can pull, including Fulton County and other areas, but the president's up by 100,000 plus. I mean, I can't see anything. Remember that with the video? And all of a sudden the video shut off, and he was talking to the Today Show, and it's like, what happened to the video? I can get to that if you want me to prove that to you in just a second. You know, a lot of questions. And then all of a sudden, it's like, look at this. Joe Biden got 974 million votes just out of Fulton County alone. How does that kind of thing? So we still want to talk about it. DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, working on it. We're going to find out exactly what went on here to the media and the Democrats' dismay. The president asked about it.
15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest. And if a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, you know, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about run their elections, what a disgrace it is. I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Now, he goes on and he talks about the different states. And I'll say this about the president when it comes to this issue, because immediately the pushback is, here's Caitlin Collins with the pushback before the president was talking about his concerns about elections and election integrity. And let me just play this, because this was kind of one of those moments where...
The Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President. That's what the Constitution
you know what?
says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
Yeah, there's the issue. Obviously, when people talk about federalizing elections and everybody's like, oh, hold on a second. The Constitution says it's states who administer elections, and the president's like, yeah, you know what? Exactly right. But you have to do it honestly. There is that part of it. Well, not for Democrats. As Democrats, they do what they want in their states. That's all. You know, well, it's not their states, by the way. It's the people's state. And unfortunately, the people have decided that they want Democrats to run the show, which is a really strange thing, especially in certain areas where they continue to vote for Democrats over and over and over again. And the crime is rampant, and there's not a lot of business coming into the area, and the taxes are through the roof, and yet there's still potholes all over the place, and it feels like nobody wants to pick up the trash and all of these things. And it's like, got to keep voting Democrat. Somebody might want to look into that and say, hey, how are the elections doing in that area? Because that seems a little... No, you can't do that. But anyway, as the president was talking to Caitlin Collins there, because she's trying to pull the gotcha, and it's like, look, let's just get right down to the crux of the matter. The issue of elections in this country and how we do them and how elections get stolen. It feels like, you just got that gut feeling, right? There's no evidence because it's been talked about over and over and over again. Yeah, about that. Got that gut feeling. And look, remember, Democrats, what they will do, and I'll end it with this, and we'll move on. Senator Mark Warner, somebody who was neck deep in the Russia collusion hoax, may I add. I'll just put that out there. Senator Mark Warner is out there today doing exactly what we would expect from Democrats. The President of the United States, the FBI, DOJ, DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, and others are very concerned about election integrity. They know something went down in Fulton County. There's way too much evidence to support that something went wrong here, and we want to investigate it. Anybody who has common sense and a right mind could see that something was wrong here. And don't forget, when you're trying to fix and get elections right, that also means you Democrats. That means if people in your municipality really, truly want a Democrat to run the show, you don't have to rig it. You could just do it properly, and we'll see what happens. So it even benefits you. So you don't have any questions about what went wrong here. Allegedly. But the narrative is out there. Donald Trump himself, personally, is shuffling through and perusing through all the paperwork. So it's out of custody. It's out of the custody of eyes that could take a look and say, hey, I want to look and see what you're seeing because I can't necessarily trust you when you, which is a funny argument from Democrats because that's exactly what Republicans have been saying all along and what they were saying in Georgia when you were putting cardboard up on windows because nobody can see the count that's going on. Why can't we see that? You've taken it out of my custody. I'm supposed to trust everybody that's on the other side of the glass, but I can't have any of the people that I trust on the other side to watch what it is you're doing. You see what I'm saying? That's the narrative. How do I know? Here's Senate Democrat Mark Warner spelling it out today.
I remember back, a year ago at this time when people would often ask me when they were seeing the actions of the Trump administration, do you think we'll have free and fair elections in 26?
Here we go. Buckle up.
Or in 28? And my response at that point was, I think you're overreacting. I have deep concerns about the fairness of our elections in 26 and 28 right now. I have concerns about the elections in primaries in our country. I have concerns about the elections that may take place in Virginia in terms of a redistricting referendum. These kind of actions that have taken place over the last year as we've seen the systemic dismantling of the very protections that were put in place by, again, the first Trump administration.
I don't need to go on. It goes on for another minute. But that's Senate Democrat Mark Warner, who's trying to make the case to the press that's just lapping it up like a little kitty. I don't know who laps us. When you think of lapping it up, D, is it? You think of dogs or cats? You think it's more cat?
I haven't ever thought of that.
Great. All right, so then I'm in a really weird place because if D doesn't know what I'm talking about. I have deep concerns about the fairness of the elections in 26 and 28. If it doesn't scare the heck out of you, it should. Talking points are out there, everybody. They want you to think that Trump's got him in his hands. That means it's out of our custody, which means we can't see what he's doing, which means he's probably fudging the... Wait a second. That's what you guys do. I see what you're doing there. You're gaslighting me. Not today. No. All right, 866-588-8303 is the phone number. A couple of Florida stories I wanted to get to. The governor of the great state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, we're told by the Tampa Bay Times, has just become the Rays MVP on the stadium project. The governor's support for an idea that could involve more than $1 billion in public funds might have paved the way for the fact that people want the Tampa Bay Rays to stay in Tampa Bay, and so the governor wants that to happen. He was clear that he would like the team to remain in Tampa, and he supports the idea of a public-private partnership at the Dale Mabry campus, which is a pretty big deal and positive news for many people who live in the Tampa Bay area who want to see the Rays stay right where they are. So that was some good news. And then there was this, which is a look at Florida's plan to let companies pay below minimum wage. Now, I saw this story in the Orlando Sentinel. Scott Maxwell, who's very dramatic and feels very lefty. Not a big fan of Republican politics or the governor or the legislature. I don't know. I get that sensation. I could be totally off base. I don't think I am. A few years ago, Floridians voted overwhelmingly to increase the state's minimum wage, putting the hike into the Florida Constitution. Why do we have to do that as a constitutional amendment? That just seemed over the top even at the time. Can we stop with the constitutional amendments on every single thing that that everybody on the left wants, and it's got to be in a constitutional amendment. I want recreational marijuana. Right, Nikki? That's what you want.
Marijuana?
You betcha. We got to do it as a constitution. No, let's not. Anyway. Ever since then, the state's business lobby and their toady politicians, I love the toady part, in the legislature have tried to undermine it. Have they really? So he goes on to talk about this House bill where Republican lawmakers are advancing a proposal to let companies pay their employees less than minimum wage. Oh, really? But you see, they're tricking everybody. They don't do it as just a blatant, like people with jobs. They're saying that as long as the employers don't call them jobs, well, then maybe they're not a job that we have to pay a minimum wage. Is that true? Is that really what's happening? Because the way it's been described as you go through the article talks about how the look on this is that they're hiring people, like certain companies do, work-based learning opportunities. So you've got an opportunity to come to this business. You're going to learn how to do said business. In the moment, we may not necessarily need to. It's not that they don't or they couldn't, but they don't necessarily have to pay you minimum wage to come to this work-based learning opportunity because you're learning the skill and the trade, and then ultimately you're going to make some big money. Anybody who's in any kind of trade, whether it's HVAC or electrician or plumber, you know how well-paying the job is. I guess the thought is that there are some people who are bringing people in on these work-based learning opportunities to learn a trade and aren't paying minimum wage. Now, just because there might be a bill that says you don't have to, doesn't necessarily mean that a business is going to do that. Dee, does that make sense? Because if there's a bill out there that says, listen, you could pay them, let's say $10 an hour or whatever you would like for minimum wage, just because the law says to do that, your assumption automatically is, evil corporations and businesses, they're going to take advantage of this. Well, if you want to hire people and you want good employees, you're not going to be able to because the marketplace will dictate. You'll have somebody that will look and say, well, wait a second, I could go learn a trade over here and be in this work-based learning environment and opportunity, and they're going to pay me $20 an hour. And by the way, they could if they wanted to. All of them. Doesn't mean they have. See, it's that whole kind of, this is how it works. It's the evil Republicans that just want to destroy the economy. Oh, stop. So is that really what's happening? And if you have someone who is learning work-based learning opportunities and they're not getting paid minimum wage, but they are learning a skill and getting paid, you have an opportunity to look at that situation and say, I can't. Or I know on the other side of this, I'm going to learn a skill and I'm going to make a good living. And I'm good with that. So why do I have to have somebody telling me that businesses can't do this or have this opportunity? Like this is wrong. It certainly isn't a future employee's choice as to whether or not they want to. And then again, in the business place, in the square of opportunity, when I say square of opportunity, I mean square like the place you're walking around, the square. That competition is good, and there's a lot out there. And there are people that are learning trades that certainly love what they're doing and love the opportunity and understand what the future looks like. And employers that are like, man, I need to train some folks up and get them in here, and will ultimately in the business marketplace do what they need to do in order to hire the person. So just because a law says that doesn't mean necessarily. I hope I'm making sense. And when I see an article like this, it's automatically Republicans and bad and evil and they're trying to get around it. And is that really the case? You got to dig in a little more. There seems to be a little more to this. That's what it's all about. All right, top 5 audio clips on the way next. My name is Drew Steele. It's Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
After my injury, I lost my sense of purpose.
I lost the ability to tuck my daughters into bed.
Homes for Our Troops build specially adapted homes with features that allow our veterans to function independently and focus on their recovery and family. This life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free thanks to our donors and supporters.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a home where I can be a dad.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a brighter future.
We need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Learn more at hfotusa.org.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead and in a changing world. You've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, don't forget, anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News, YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram. And anytime you want to check out the program after hours, Florida's Voice with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it. And a reminder to the newsroom, and D in particular, and to Nina in the breaking newsroom, to everybody. I guess tomorrow we'll start to talk about and promote our next Seed to Table event in Naples. We should probably talk about that. It's going to be, as some would say, huge, and you're not going to want to miss it. So I'm thinking just be prepared for tomorrow as we get ready to make that announcement. Is that okay with you? Are you all right with
Copy that?
All right, copy that. 10-4, good buddy. What are we doing like, that's like CB talk. You're going back to the 70s, like that, what the truckers do. 10-4, good buddy. Is that... Right now he's mad at me because he thinks I made fun of him. All right, top 5 audio clips of the day. It's my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
So speaking of electability, one of the big concerns I hear about you is your age.
No, yes, really? Exactly. Damn, I thought that wouldn't come up.
Do you think that the memory in your party about Joe Biden, is that going to be too much for you to overcome?
Good Lord. Oh, I'm not Joe Biden, for God's sake. I'm healthy. Oh. People see me at work every day. They know that I can deliver, and I have delivered.
Wow, she sounds angry. Well, she's a Democrat, so she's either angry or delusional, one or the other. So that's Maine Governor Janet Mills. She's a Democrat, by the way. Who? How dare she be questioned by CNN about her age? And I don't know if this is going to really do a lot for her in the polls. But again, Democrats winning in places like Maine might not matter. I guess she's 77. She turned 78 in December, so she would be 79 ahead of her swearing in if she were to win. And she's in a race to defeat Maine Senator Susan Collins there. And being asked about Joe Biden, people are talking about your age. Really? They are? Yeah. Remember when everybody in the whole world, including the media, was talking about Joe Biden and the party remembering about Joe Biden, which, by the way, CNN, nobody did. None of you talked about Joe Biden not being necessarily there. So,
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom,
exactly.
boom.
None of you talked about that. But anyway, do you think that the memory in your party about Joe Biden is going to be too much for you? She's like, I'm not Joe Biden. I'm healthy. Wow. So I'm wondering if you're like the Democrats in the state of Maine and someone that's a nominee, a big nominee in your state is like, I'm healthy. I'm nothing like Joe Biden. Are you thinking to yourself, hey, ixnay on the Biden talk, eh? Because that didn't sound like a winning slogan there.
Number 4.
I'd like to focus on how this bill will protect our state, the state of Florida and our country as a whole from foreign adversaries, especially the Chinese Communist Party, who seek to exploit vulnerabilities related to critical infrastructure, technology systems, and sensitive data. The risks that this bill addresses are especially acute when there are no existing guardrails against reliance on vendors, contracts, or technologies with deep ties to foreign adversaries. When critical infrastructure, energy, water, telecommunications, and data networks are reliant on adversary-linked entities, the result is threat vectors that may impact us today and in years to come.
Now, you might be thinking, what's that all about in the state of Florida? Hey, that's where I live. I need to know more about this. Well, the Florida House Judiciary Committee is considering Representative Jenna Person's foreign influence bill. It's a big deal. It just passed through committee not committee, but it just passed 16-0. People realize the threat that's going on. And that's the VP of American Global Strategies, Marina Macklin, who is explaining how the bill is going to protect Florida's critical infrastructure, technology, and data from foreign adversaries, especially the Chinese Communist Party, before vulnerabilities become future threats. Like, there are so many things in so many ways that the Chinese Communist Party wants to get into this state, whether it is buying land close to our military installations, whether it's buying up or trying to in the past, but can't do it now, big swaths of agriculture to be able to plant and provide for the people of China, and none of it sees the light of day here in the United States, or even what exactly they are planting, among other things. It's an important bill. It's great to see that it is being discussed and seriously being considered, and that is a very, very good thing.
Number 3.
It's been a week since I met with Tom Homan. Expectations have not changed. This force must leave Minnesota. The state of Minnesota and the professionals, nonpartisan judiciary, must do the investigations into the shootings and other abuses of Minnesota's human rights. And this all-out assault on Minnesota across all of state government and all across life must stop.
He goes on. Go ahead.
None of this is normal. None of this is okay. None of this makes Minnesota any safer.
So that's the governor, Tim Walz, there in Minnesota, who is very, very upset because in his terms, I don't understand. I was sitting talking to Tom Homan, and it seemed like we had an agreement and everything, and you're still here. Like, how could you still be here? You realize that if you weren't here, then we wouldn't have any protests. We wouldn't have any violence. We wouldn't have any of the things that are Wait a minute. Oh, is that so you want us to leave because you won't stop until we... That's a funny thing, because when Barack Obama was all over the place, including in Minnesota and other areas of the country, that when he was doing deportations, we didn't have anything going on like this. But anyway, that is Governor Tim Walz, who was talking about his disgust because Tom Homan's not pulling out any kind of force there of immigration agents from Minnesota. It's like, it's been a week. What's going on here? Well, we're trying to keep the citizens safe, and we're trying to get rid of criminal illegals out of the state. And oh, by the way, hey, D, can I just ask this question? And maybe I shouldn't even say this, but too late. It's already on my mind. The governor's wife, forgive me, I forget her name, do you see the sweatshirt she's wearing? It's got an outline of the state of Minnesota on it. See it?
Okay.
I don't know. Where do you get a shirt like that? Like, where do you get a sweatshirt that's got an outline on of the state of Minnesota? That's not I don't believe that's like a commonly purchased item necessarily. Like you'd have to custom. I don't know why that struck me as strange. Like, it's just I don't know. It's just I looked at it and I was like, where do you find something like that? But I guess maybe they have the outline of Minnesota.org website where you can go and buy sweatshirts. I don't really know what it is.
Number 2.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So why don't we do it? Why don't we do that thing? Everybody agrees with it, like across the board. Like, there's Democrats, Republicans, white voters, Latino voters, Black voters. Everybody agrees that we want nationwide voter ID. We want a photo ID to vote. But yet, for some reason, we can't get this across the finish line. Like, what is it going to take for us to make this happen? Please help us out. What do we need to do to make this happen? All right.
Number 1.
Voter ID, by the way, we should have a lot of the things that I think everybody wants to see. Who would not want voter ID? Only somebody that wants to cheat. Think of it. We don't have voter ID. And the Democrats don't want it. And the reason they don't want it because they want to cheat. Because there's no reason in the world, and I love that debate, Lindsay. I love saying, well, why don't you want voter ID? And you watch them say, I don't know, I just make them vote. I know, it's a terrible thing.
It's a terrible thing. I don't know what Lindsey Graham said there, but clearly it didn't please the president. Why is Lindsey Graham in there with him? They're signing the $1.2 trillion, let's keep the government open until September, except we're not going to fund DHS after another week, but we'll all agree to that. And then the Democrats will be able to go, and scream with their hair on fire kind of stuff. And then the Republicans can call them out because, they're not tough on crime and they don't care about criminal illegals in their cities and their streets. As long as you live someplace far away and maybe at the top of a hill and you got a nice mansion going on with a big old fence and everything. Well, anyway, that was the president of the United States who was mentioning, hey, what are we doing here? Everybody in the room. Can we do this? Can we pass some voter ID? Can we pass the Save America Act? Would that be possible? Can you help me out with this?
Drew's Top 5.
Yeah, seriously, help him out with this. Let's do that. All right, I know there's so much that I left on the floor here. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other things that are going on that I didn't get a chance to play today. Like with regard to ICE, look, the conversation is going to continue. Democrats got what they want in this funding of the government because just for a couple more days, it's going to be funded, that being the DHS. And then after that, they can continue to talk about how they're not funding it. And, you've got Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, who's agreeing with Tim Walz on some of the most vitriolic language that you can possibly imagine. And this is that kind of ridiculous talk. Ridiculous? I said ridiculous. No, I said ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's the kind of talk that is a joke. And you don't have the pushback from people, let's say at the New York Times, as they're doing interviews with the mayor when we're talking about the language.
Governor Walz gave an interview this week to The Atlantic where he compared what is happening to your city to that first battle of the Civil War at Fort Sumter. And I'm just wondering what you make of that comparison.
It's terrifying. I don't think he's saying that the Civil War is going to happen.
You don't think so? I mean, why invoke the words? Why put Civil War in there? Why do that?
I think what he's saying is that a significant and terrifying line is being crossed.
See, it really is? Wait, so Tom Homan is like, listen, you've released a bunch of people from prison, criminal illegals. They're out there on the streets. We've got detainers. We want you to help us to get them off the streets, out of the country. And you don't want to help us, for example. And somehow that's a dangerous line that's been crossed by us? How do, no. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It feels like there wasn't a time that long ago where Democrats were all about making sure we're securing elections and securing borders, and illegals need to be, especially criminal illegals, need to be out of the country. I just seem to remember a time when they did, right?
Americans are right to demand better border security and better enforcement of the immigration laws.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked.
We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders. It has become an extraordinary problem.
Hey, guess what? That's Barack Obama. He was president of the United States. Thanks, Western Lensman on X, for putting that little video together there. And it's a funny thing. That's just one person out of many people for 2 minutes and 30 seconds talking about border security and illegals in this country and deportations. It's a funny thing how It was talked about in the past. And
Get your hands out of my fries.
what does that mean? What does that mean? Anyway, point is that there has to be something going on now that has changed their minds. Democrats didn't just say, yeah, open the borders. Go ahead, bring them in. Criminal illegals, let them stay. That wasn't a thing where they just all got together and like, whatevs. No. The only way that they would change on a dime like that is if something is coordinated. Like if, again, bringing in all of these illegals into the country, tens of millions, dropping them off in certain locales across the country where they get to stay and they get to be part of the census, and then Democrats get to be elected into office and thus gaining power in the halls of Congress. And then, of course, there's the election and voting and that issue there. Do you see how that works?
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little fly, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Yeah, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Dad.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on J&C Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? If you're looking for countertops, backsplash, you know where to go. Rock Solid, J&C Boulevard, Naples.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, we put a bow on the show here on this Tuesday. It feels like Thursday. Yeah, it's just me. Anyway, so remember the Grammys? You probably don't, because I don't think many of you were watching. And you had the singer Billie Eilish, who wins a Grammy and can't think of anything else to say, but let's talk about protests and the like. And
no one is illegal on stolen land.
Oh, yeah. And all right, well, anyway, you don't need to hear the rest of it. So I guess there is a group of people, and if you're looking at the screen, if you're not, I'll just describe it, no problem. But Tongva lands is apparently the Tongva tribe is claiming that Billie Eilish's house is just like sitting right on top of their ancestral land, and she hasn't reached out to them about the house. We appreciate the opportunity to provide clarity regarding the recent comments made by Billie Eilish. And they're saying that, yep, her home's situated on the ancestral land, and I'm waiting for the real estate company to call and say, hey, here's the keys, because it's not our place. Because the stolen land comments, you know how that goes. And I guess even Ted Cruz wanted to ask about that today on Capitol Hill. Is that right? Talking to the Netflix co-CEO, Ted Sarandos, and some folks from Warner Brothers and other places, and I guess this came up.
Are we right now on stolen land?
I have no idea the history of this land, of this where we're sitting today.
Nor do I, Senator.
So that speaks volumes that neither of you are willing to say, hell no, we're not on stolen land. And I will say at the Grammys, when you see an entertainer say, nobody is illegal while we're on stolen land, and then you see entertainers leap to their feet clapping so excitedly at the notion that America is fundamentally illegitimate, it starts to convey that the entertainment world is deeply corrupt. And I will point out that same singer who says no one is illegal on stolen land promptly went back to her $14 million mansion.
And that's what I talked about yesterday.
And somehow that stolen land she wasn't concerned about, just the United States of America.
Yeah.
Look, Netflix has long been a left-wing company.
First of all, I love that there's Ted Cruz, you got the co-CEO of Netflix sitting there listening, and he's like, you know, you're a big lefty, you know. And so,
your founder, Reed Hastings, is one of the biggest Democrat donors in the country, including giving millions recently to the massive gerrymander in California, making it one of the most gerrymandered states in the union, because your founder desperately wants a Democrat House of Representatives.
Whoa. Keep going, Ted.
Susan Rice from the Obama White House is on your board of directors.
That's true, by the way. I just laughed for a second because, wow.
You guys gave $50 million to the Obamas, as far as I can tell, to produce no discernible content whatsoever.
Well, I mean, well, he's probably right about that.
How would you tell a Texan sitting at home to feel comfortable? CNN is already a dumpster fire. There's nothing resembling objectivity. There's nothing resembling journalism anymore.
Yeah.
How are people at home, how should they feel even remotely confident that if this merger happens, the combined entity would not simply be a propaganda outlet pushing one particular political view with much greater market power than you have now?
Oh, they do. That's what's going on. They were talking about the Netflix and Warner Brothers proposed merger, and is that really what we want to do? We're going to put all this together and be like a super lefty channel. They'll probably call it they're probably going to change the name of both Netflix and Warner Brothers to Super Lefty. You know, they'll do that just to make sure we're all on the same page. By the way, there was a dude in the audience with a top hat. Did you see? Look at that guy. He was a dude wearing a top hat like that. That's pretty interesting. He didn't have to dress like that, but apparently he felt like he needed to. I don't know. It's a strange thing. See you tomorrow.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.